I'm at Crofton Books in London, and you may remember from an earlier video I came across this interesting Longman knockout edition of the Midwich Cuckoos, which has clearly been adapted for children or school kids. It has some character thumbnails and brief descriptions, and then it has a wonderful map of Midwich, and then it has a condensed version of the story, and it's really quite interesting. And if they weren't charging £25 for it, I would be very interested in getting that, because I'm a very big fan of John Wyndham. And in the same bookstore now I've come across the Triffids, which is obviously referring to the day of the Triffids, but you can see from the size of the book, but this is not the original Triffids, and I guess that's why they call it the Triffids and not the Day of the Triffids. And again, I think this is an adaptation for children, school children. And the way, where does it come from? Well, there you go. Peckham Manor School, Peckham Road. So it's not very far from here. Peckham's just over the way there. This is adapted by somebody called Patrick Noobs, I guess, from The Day of the Triffids by John Wyndham. There he goes, he says that. The beginning of The Day of the Triffids is not this, so you'll know immediately this is not the original, and it actually provides a kind of an easy to read version. So I was looking through it and found this, My Life Before I Went to Hospital, and here the adapter has written, "This book is the story of my life. If you are to understand what happened after I left the hospital, you will have to be told about my earlier life and about the world as it was then." And obviously they're guiding the young reader through the story and signaling the flashbacks like that, so that the young reader doesn't get lost. And I think that's wonderful. And then towards the end of the book, they even have the following. Here we go. They have a map of the south of England, of all of the places that I seem to remember that they travelled to. And so that's really useful for a younger reader to be able to get to grips with the story and not to lose focus, and to be able to, and make it more interesting to follow what's going on. And so I think this is it's a really wonderful adaptation. And I know they do this for various famous books, but I hadn't come across this for the Triffids, and I'm glad they thought, this publisher, who was it? Hutchinson. I'm glad Hutchinson thought this was a worthwhile book for that attention, because I really do think it is. And that's not a bad cover illustration, actually. I like that. It uses the classic dumpy kind of pineapple looking Triffid with his funny tube and the sting at the top, which is problematic for reasons I'll describe in another video about the presentation of the Triffids and how that stymied various filmmaking attempts of this brilliant story. Anyway, these are the two that they have down here at the moment. I'll leave them upstairs so that if you happen to be in London and you desperately want either one of these, then you should zip along here and grab them. Here is another rather hopeful ploy to try and get my writing out to some of the local people around here in DC. I'm going to pop this book up in a little book library up the road and put this message for them. "Hi there, I'm a local DC independent author. Please read this YA 16+ book, and if you like it, review it at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, social media, Goodreads, Ect, and then pass it on to a friend. Thank you." I am hoping somebody will pick up the book. I mean, I think it looks attractive, but we will see. I'll put it up there, and perhaps I'll get a response. Perhaps something will happen, or perhaps it won't. Let's just do it and have some fun. This is the little library box that I was talking about, that I was going to shove The Boy Who Built a Rocket Ship and another in. It's littlefreelibrary.org, and I'm just going to pop this in here, and hopefully something good will happen. I'm so hopeful. There we go. Should we leave it like that? What do you think? Okay. Good luck, little book. Go out there and do some good stuff for me, eh? There he is. Oh. Okay. This is Waterson's down at Greenwich, where the Cutty Sark is. There's the Cutty Sark with its Christmas lights on its masts. We're going to go in here and do a bit of stealth publishing, which really consists of me sticking some of my bookmarks into books that I think readers who find the bookmarks might then look at my book, but we will see what we will see. Up the stairs, because I think that's where the YA that we want is. I know the science fiction's up here. We want older YA. Yeah, there it is, older YA. We'll stick some of the bookmarks into the older YA. So this is the book that I've been targeting because it's been given some prominence on the bookshelf. So here's a bookmark, and what I do is I just open up the book, just kind of shove it in, right in there like that, and then do that for, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, there's so little science fiction. Not quite sure what to do with this, but I'll stick it in a bunch and then maybe a few in the science fiction section over there.
Story number 2 is called The Boy Who Built a Rocket Ship, and this is written in the first person narrative of a little boy called Joshua, and the story is mainly a domestic story. It's about his brother, his mum and dad living in this world, and it's all about family and, you know, love, and also a wee bit like what makes family. Is family with blood, or is it, you know, you don't, like, say you have a somebody that's adopted, you grew up with your whole life, he's still your brother, you know, and there's a bit of that in it. I don't want to say too much because I want people to get a lot of the story themselves, but there's a lot of themes like that, and identity of who, you know, that's the older brother, of where he is, and his identity is like, do they love me? Should I be here? I'm in the wrong place. And then it's that trust of the younger brother. It's all about trust and love, and he'd do anything for me as well. You know, it's a very good short story. It's very domestic, but it's SF, and it's very SF too, which is why it was a page turner.